Episode 3 Sex in the City. Now, when you hear of Sex in the City, you would almost remember the 1998 drama comedy TV series, and there's Sarah Jessica Parker, there's Kim Cattrall, there's Kristen Davis, there is also Cynthia Nixon, and that movie was an adaptation of Candice Bushnell's 1996 novel Sex and the City. Now, it is about 4 female New Yorkers gossiping about their sex lives or lack thereof and finding new ways to deal with being a woman in the late 1900s. Now, this episode is not about Sex and the City. The sex is in the city. It shakes up the city. It keeps the city awake. Even in the dead of the night, the city smells of sex, Canadian loud, and seawater. Now, if you're thinking this episode is where I detail out all my sexual escapades and how much trust you can, have in me, then you're right. You can definitely trust me, but I'm not sure about the former. And just in case you thought this episode is Sex and the City, may I remind you again that story was about 4 female New Yorkers gossiping about their sex lives or lack thereof. As much as I have the weirdest sexual fantasies, raging testosterone and a ball sack that reeks of man smell, I am the least experienced person when it comes to getting some. I mean, I know what sex is. You get your penis into a vagina or a butthole, or your mouth, or an ear, or nostril, or whatever. Anyway, there's a hole. I know you just have to insert your penis inside it. Or in other cases, or oral sex, where people use their mouths and they think they used to eat and praise God to fornicate and adulterate, and do all sorts. I mean, I also hear that you guys are sexy now. What I can never understand, especially in this age where mobile devices are not safe and internet hackers are working overtime to render the devil jobless, is that you're sexting. Just one click and your nudes are all over the internet, and you're one step away from being another Kim K, another Soldier Boy, Small Doctor, Tiwa, or even Oxlade. Anyways, do whatever works for you. But Misha, in all honesty, I can tell you that I think about sex every day. Second only to what I plan to eat for the day, and oh yes, work. Sometimes it's not exactly an active process, it's mostly subconscious. It can be triggered by a smell, can be triggered by a tweet. The smell of weed turns me on. It can be a silly joke, it can be what somebody's wearing, it can be what someone is saying. That is just how my body functions or my brain functions. But at the end of the day, all those things shine inside my head. Thing is, in Lagos, everybody's having sex with everybody. And it's not my words, here.
Everybody's at a shower in Lagos. You are sharing one person with 7 people. Take it or leave it.
So now you know the context of this episode. Now let me take you back to the, cold night in the taxi where I first got introduced to sex in the booming city of Lagos. The day is September 19. The time is 7:41 p.m. I had just booked a cab heading out for a meeting with a friend at Orchard Road, which for some reason they call Orchard Road in Lagos. So when you order a ride here, you are either lucky to find a driver who says very little. You're very unlucky if you find one that is arrogant and rude. Now it's kind of a mixed feeling when you find one that, talks more than Chris Tucker and Kevin Hart put together. Now on this particular night, I was in for a very long ride. Maybe it was my fault, because I seemed very nice and cordial. In a less than 5-minute journey from the, high-rise buildings of Adele out there code to the dark, lonely path at law school, we had spoken about a lot of things. Talked about my state of origin, talked about his, talked about my relationship status, and if I had cheated on my girlfriend. I struggled through this rather odd conversation with this driver. My social juice already had run out for the day. I was already exhausted. I was just running on reserve, but I was forcing myself to smile through this 30-minute ride. It was at the traffic light at Lekki that the conversation got interesting. Dude told me the story of a stripper he had carried. According to him, in his usual inquisitive manner, he asked why she was angst from a conversation she just had over the phone. Apparently, she had bought fake stripping shoes from a vendor. He went on to ask her why she chose to strip, and her reasons were, for lack of better words, fun.
Here's what your peeps are saying about sex in the city.
So, everybody in Lagos is cheating. And I say everybody because 90-something% of people in Lagos are cheating. You see maybe the less than 10%, they are almost inconsequential when you take into consideration the actual number of people that cheat.
I don't know what you mean by sex in the city. I mean, I'm celibate. I don't involve myself in activities that will not please the Lord.
You can hardly see free fuck in Lagos. I don't even think there's free fuck anyway, because even that babe that you think is free fucking you, there's a deadbeat somewhere that you've not choose to acknowledge that is the reason why you're getting the fuck. And it's making me like believe a couple of things I hear, how you can't really find love in Lagos and all those kind of clinical things.
For Christians, this will make a lot of sense. There's the sexual perversion that the Bible paints when you read about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? That's if not worse, that's what Lagos is. But, and it's not any form of justification, but I feel like Lagos is such a terribly difficult place that most times the escape that a lot of young people have access to is sex.